E3 2016 is happening. Kinda Funny's going all out with Let's Plays and reaction videos all week long. Subscribe now at youtube.com/kindafunnygames to not miss a thing.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Kinda Funny Games. My name is Colin Moriarty. I'm here with Chris number 1 from Harebrained Schemes. Chris number 2 is off screen playing the game. And we're here playing Necropolis?
Necropolis, yeah.
It's an action role-playing game, looks like.
Oh, yeah. We're calling it a 3D action roguelike. So you're going to get like the Dark Souls-inspired action combat, and you're also going to get a roguelike, which in this case means procedural. So it's going to be different every time. And you get 1 life, so it's going to be permadeath.
Yes. So it's going to be difficult. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the origins of this game. Where did you guys come up with this idea?
So me and Dennis, basically the creative director, we're kind of knocking heads together, trying to figure out how do we blend something like Dark Souls, which we both kind of love, with the roguelike, so we can get that infinite challenge kind of going, you know, like just something we can just murder people over and over again.
And the game is coming out soon. Obviously, you guys partnered with publisher Bandai Namco.
Yep.
/ Namco Bandai, depending on when you're talking about them. And it's coming out in July. I was reading a little bit online. Is that correct?
Yeah, July 12th on Steam and PlayStation and Xbox later this summer.
Awesome. All right, so you're a small, tiny team, I'm sure. How many are you, by the way?
For Harebrained, we are about 52 or so.
Not as small as I thought.
Yeah, we're pretty big as indies go, but we're split between 2 projects right now. So half of us are about on Necropolis here, and the half of us are on our other project, BattleTech. Okay,
cool. Oh, okay. You guys are doing that. All right. So tell me what's going on in the game right here. Like, what are we looking at? What are we trying to do? What's
you're
the
like
goal?
nameless adventurer number 5,663, you know, whatever. And basically, you came here to the Necropolis, which is like a mega structure of, you know, honoring the Wizard of Abraxas, who's like the most powerful wizard of all time. And so he built it to sort of house his conquests and his treasures and things like that. And you came here to get loot, as adventurers do.
As one would.
Yes. So you find yourself trapped, and you're trying to figure out, well, what happened to Abraxas? Nobody's seen him for a very long time. But also, like, where's all the loot? So basically, it's pretty simple premise, and we try and take a lighthearted tone with it. You might see some of the elements in here, like the Brazen Head, who is the caretaker of this place. He'll crack jokes. He's kind of self-aware. He knows this is a dungeon delve. You probably wouldn't call it that, but, you know, like a lot of the things are self-referential in their humor. Like if he takes this skeleton out, you can probably look at some of the descriptions that some of these items have. Yeah, you know, so an undead warrior short sword kind of thing. And so we're kind of taking a lighthearted approach to the dungeon delve.
Awesome. So I've noticed a lot of collecting, as one does in a game like this, of different materials. It seems like there's a crafting system of some sort.
There is a crafting system. So you'll notice the stamina bar is like straight out of Dark Souls, that stamina sort of mechanic. But he's used power attacks, so he's gotten some amount of exhaustion. And so he can take a munch on that ham hock, and it'll actually restore some of that. So you're constantly trying to balance that stuff. And so you're going to want to craft new food items. You're going to craft potions and bombs and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy, you know, the Castlevania-like eating of the meat during the games.
The giant meat.
All right, so you're talking about how the game's procedural, which is awesome because it is roguelike.
Yep.
Are the goals also obviously then procedural, or is it just randomly generating tasks for you to do? Or is there some sort of campaign, or is it going to be really more like Rogue Legacy or something where it's like kind of just trying to get through the same thing over and over again?
So yeah, you're trying to basically, well, as a player, develop your skills, but the goals that the Brazen Head give you are pretty much random, and so he's just going to try and say, you know, help me clear out the undead on level 3, that kind of stuff. And if you do those, you'll get tokens of favor. So tokens of favor are the only thing that persist, or things you buy with tokens of favor between playthroughs. So what you're going to spend those on are basically codexes, which you can unlock new abilities like super jump or vampirism, things like that. You can also use them to open like the super sweet gold chest that's down by the elevator to sort of give you a leg up on this playthrough. But generally, everything you get or collect is going to reset if you die.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So, it's more like Enter the Gungeon than Rogue Legacy, where you are starting from scratch pretty much every time.
You're starting from scratch.
Does nothing carry over? Is it total?
Those codexes and those tokens of favor are the only things that carry over. Yeah.
Got it.
So there is one saving grace to that. We do support 4-player co-op. So if you bring some friends, if you get downed, you have a chance for your friend to resurrect you before like everyone is dead. So if it's in the multiplayer scenario, it's a total party wipe will be game over.
Is the co-op local or online or both?
It's online.
Okay.
So yeah, you're teaming up with friends on the various platforms and just going to town.
Cool. I like the look. Like it's a like a simple look, and yet I think it really is quite effective and actually quite different than a lot of the games you see in this particular genre. Also from a third-person action perspective, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean we're getting a lot of love for the look. Chris number 2 over here is our art director, and he's had a big hand in that. So we really enjoy that sort of stylized approach to it. It kind of keeps a lighter tone. It meshes well with the humor. And honestly, it's all good fun. So you can just kind of get in there. You don't have to worry about the nitty gritty details or getting oppressed by like, oh God, I'm just like on level 7. It's just so scary and dark, and I just can't stand it anymore.
Ooh, little Zelda or Link, I should say, type attack. Yeah, I don't know. This is scratching my itch. Wish it was on Vita. Just letting PR know. Wishing it was on Vita. Please send emails.
Yeah, we'll take a note.
Send emails. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Perfect. Not the first game I begged you to bring to Vita, as we all know. Over the years. Okay. So one of the things I like to ask with games like this with permadeath. I was reading something interesting about id recently with Doom, the new Doom. How they do have a permadeath feature in the game on the hardest difficulty. And talking about how far people in the studio can get and how far the QA testers can get. Are you guys messing around to see how far, whether QA or internally at your team, like who's the best, who has gotten the furthest? Like what is the furthest a person has delved in?
Yeah, I mean we've definitely got a handful of people who are definitely better than others. For instance, we have an artist who sits next to me. I think I told him just the other day, I think you're officially the best person in the world at this game right now, because he can single hand most of the game at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's super difficult. We've been trying to tune down the difficulty in some cases, tune it up in others, make sure that we have a kind of a consistent and sort of fun difficulty curve throughout, but both for single player and multiplayer. I
mean, what are you aiming for? Like, what is the aim for like game length? I mean, do you guys have something in mind where it's like if a person's lasts for a half an hour, that's considered pretty good? Or?
Yeah. So like we get asked like how long is the game, and that's kind of a difficult question to answer for a procedural game like this, but if you're good, you can probably beat the game in probably about 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
But it's going to take you much, much longer than that to develop the skills. Like even someone like a serious Dark Souls player is going to have a learning curve here because it's a little different. We've got our own takes on it, and you've got to learn all the enemies, attacks, and those kinds of things. So.
Do you have to play it all in one burst, or are you able to stop in the middle of your game as long as you haven't died?
Yeah, you can totally stop because like in 4 hours, that's an epic.
I mean, I kind of wish you were saying the opposite, which is that like you have to be pretty hardcore about it. You have to set out some time.
We considered that. We considered that, but sometimes you just gotta go take a leak. So.
Yeah, probably not the friendliest thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, so similar to Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne, you can't really pause. Right.
No, there's no pause in here. So if you're in a crafting screen or in a shop screen, people can totally sneak up on you and just like stab you in the back.
I love that. So that would have been really quite heinously unfair then. If
I've watched that so many times at E3 here.
Yeah, I'm feeling this game. I'm feeling this game quite a bit.
Yeah, he's playing this demo, which is currently limited to about 10 minutes, and if he survives that long, he's sweating it over there. I'm pretty sure. He gets dropped into an arena, which is just a special thing we've whipped up for the E3 here, and. He's taking it as a matter of pride because we've been doing a couple of these talks and usually I'm the talking head and he's the thumbs, as he likes to say.
Chris number 2 is the thumbs. Chris number 1.
Yeah.
Now I feel like you're attacking these what look like old man warriors, and I feel like they might just try to be living their life, and you're.
Well, yeah. So these are old adventurers. We call them hordemen, and they basically came here looking for loot, much like yourself, and never found a way out. Eventually, they just got tired of trying to find it and kind of formed a cult of people who just want to live here and hoard things. So, yeah, there are kind of go-to guys on these earlier levels.
Oh, that poor old man. Yeah, he had a story. He had a story. He just ruined his life forever. How important? I mean, we were talking a little bit more about the facetious nature of the game, in terms of the codices and the way you guys write about everything. How important is the lore? I mean, like, is that like kind of a tertiary or secondary kind of thing for you guys?
I mean, well, we definitely have some world building going on. Like, there's stories about all the different types of characters and places. Like, if you start the intro screen, those are actual locations in our fictional world. But we do a lot of Dark Souls style storytelling. You'll get snippets from like graffiti written on the walls and those kinds of things. We don't have a like in your face storyline. You're not ever going to get, oh, nice. We don't have any like direct storylines or cutscenes that are gonna yank the controls from you. It's all kind of passive storytelling.
So this is the arena we're talking about. You made it 10 minutes.
Yep. So after 10 minutes, it snatched him here, and basically it's a proving ground. I think we had 3 people beat it at the show this year.
What booth were you guys? Were you guys in? You guys were obviously in your
double fireball
in your publisher's booth. Yeah. So you're not Chris number 2, not one of the 3 people that survived this time around, unfortunately.
Oh,
well, you've survived in the past,
this trip,
I'm sure.
But he was.
But not this time. You can't prove it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it says defeat at the top of the screen there. So.
All right, I'm liking the way this game's looking. So it's called Necropolis. Comes to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC.
Yep.
July 20th. Is that right?
Yeah, July 12th.
July 12th. I'm sorry.
And then Xbox and PlayStation later this year or this summer.
And Bandai Namco / Namco Bandai codes ASAP. So we can do a Let's Play. I'd love to play more of it. And put it on the Vita. For God's sake, put it on the Vita.
Oh, don't
if it wasn't for Greg and I, the Vita would be dead. It would be totally dead. It would have died years ago.
I'm the person that would have to put it on the Vita. So, like, I'm going to say no.
I know. Yeah. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Chris number 1. Chris number 2. You can be Chris number 1 next time. Keep it tuned to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames for more. We appreciate you. Goodbye.